British Pirelli British Grand Prix at Silverstone.
Tough time never lasts.
Tough time never lasts.
Only tough people last.
Yep. He was like, "Phew!"
The Holy Spirit took over.
No one cares about sprint.
I care about the sprint. McLaren
Is the World Championship
hotline. I have some thoughts about that.
He's Max freaking Verstappen. He should always be on your radar.
We get to the juicy bits.
Love the juicy bits.
I'm not a scientist.
Overtake King.
Yeah.
That restart, by the way, from Oscar Piastri.
Cheeky.
Diabolical. There's been lots of drivers. It's hard to keep them all straight. And we're live. I'm Anna.
And I'm Jessica.
And this is why we're yelling, welcome back to another F1 race review. And today we're talking about round 9 of the 2026 Formula One season, the Pirelli British Grand Prix at Silverstone Circuit. And can I just say, tough time never lasts. Only tough people last.
That's about right, isn't it?
Yeah. In case you don't know, I highly recommend that you go and look at Charles Leclerc's post from the British Grand Prix and go to the very last slide. You're welcome.
If you are up to date with meme culture, you shall know. And if you aren't, you will shortly become very aware.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to get into our 2 podiums because we have 2 different podiums to talk about. I had no clue Silverstone was a sprint, so sorry I didn't say that last time. Literally had no idea, and we got to the weekend, and I went, huh?
Oh, it's a sprint weekend?
And an F1 Academy weekend?
And F2 and F3 and regular F1, and it was a lot. And it was our Independence Day for July 4th, so we had a lot going on
It was a
this
lot.
weekend. But we still made time to be here with you.
We did. All right, so our sprint podium, we have Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton, and Lando Norris. So Lewis on that podium at Silverstone in the sprint. As Anna has said, though, who cares about the sprint?
Who cares about sprint? Literally, who cares? Come on, get to the main, the good stuff.
So, our Grand Prix podium, we have Charles Leclerc, George Russell,
He's fun.
and Lewis Hamilton. Yay! I mean, I do have some beef because it definitely should have been a Ferrari 1-2, but whatever.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda to Ferrari. There were no changes in the constructor standings. And in the driver standings, Charles Leclerc moved from 6th to 4th.
Ayo.
Arvid Lindblad moved from 13th to 11th. And Gabriel Bortoleto moved from 17th to 14th.
Good for him.
And my prediction was wrong. Nico Hülkenberg did not get his first point at Silverstone. He actually didn't get to finish. But we'll talk about him soon. Overall thoughts and impressions. So, there was something that I feel is a complaint that we had last time. Don't know what went on in the midfield again. And apparently there were lots of battles and overtakes. And if you all are aware of that, please let me know because, I feel like I didn't see any, but I also saw that Franco Colapinto and Pierre Gasly moved the fuck up the grid. I'm sure some of that was due to maybe some retirements or due to strategy or just poor stuff. But at the same time, from their interviews, they were Franco was we had some good wheel-to-wheel battles. And I'm like, wish I could have seen him.
Yeah,
Didn't see him.
I remember actively noticing that right around probably lap 35, 40, where I was like, oh, wow, we've really just been focusing on the battle for it was first through fourth. That was the main focus for basically the whole race. A couple times they had the little inset screen where they showed some other stuff going on. But the only thing we really paid attention to the whole race was for first through fourth position.
And I just am can we get back to caring about everyone else too, please?
I just want to see good racing.
Yeah.
I get that we need to stay focused on the most intense sort of storylines and the people that are battling at the higher positions, finishing positions. But at the same time, I kind of still just want to see good racing. I want to see cool overtakes. I want to see people battling wheel to wheel. And if all you're showing me is the same 2 or 3 cars going lap after lap in the same order, waiting for something to happen, I'm I get that kind of is part of the broadcast is they kind of just have to wait until something does happen. But if you know other stuff's happening or gonna happen, I don't know. I feel like they could just do a better job.
Yeah,
I
feel like the last few just haven't been as good as I feel like they normally are. So, yeah, I don't know what that's about. But overall thoughts, obviously, so happy for Charles. Happy for Ferrari.
I mean, it was such a good weekend for him. I mean, he was so happy. I love seeing him happy. When he's sad, I'm just like, oh, sad boy Charles. But when he's happy, he has the best smile. It's just it's like I'm like, oh, I love it. I'm so happy.
No, he was so it was very cute. He was so happy. Everybody was happy. It was nice just for Ferrari. I mean, both drivers up there. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And Charles, I don't know. He was sad boy for a while.
I know. It's so sad when he's he literally is like the human embodiment of like the cloud hovering over you with the rain falling down. Like he just gives that when he's sad boy Charles, and he was happy boy Charles.
He was happy boy. He was he was like
he was being silly on the radio. I'm so like he was just smiling at all his post race interviews.
He did not wait 24 hours this time.
Oh no, he posted like immediately, and his post was funny. I'm like, he was just in a great mood, and like Lewis was not so much. He was kind of over it.
Lewis was over it. Even he was on the podium both races.
Yeah.
But it
wasn't necessarily a bad weekend for him. No. It just, there was more on the table, I think. And so that's the frustrating part, is when I think even George Russell put it this way, where he was like, he felt better after Canada when he DNF'd because he was fighting for the win, but he was giving it everything he had in that car, and he felt better then DNFing than he did finishing P2 in the British Grand Prix, because he felt like there was more that could have been done, and they could have pushed it more and done more, and there was more left on the table. And I'm like, I feel like as a racer, that kind of holds true, that if you feel like there's more that could have been done, you're never truly satisfied until you leave it all out there.
Oh yeah. And I mean, I'm sure it wasn't fun once everyone on the grid realized that we were going to be finishing under a safety car, and Lewis is like, but I literally could have just finished second.
Yeah.
Like, what? So that was really annoying. I got so mad. So here's a picture watching the race. And then at this point, we're like, oh, fuck, the safety car is going in, and we're going to have a one-lap shootout. Lewis Hamilton.
I was on the edge of my couch, fingers clasped, like, in front of my mouth, like, my heart was going. I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Because at that point, just imagining, like, we've got Charles in the lead. He's on softs. We've got George in second, and he's on 22 lap old mediums. And then Lewis is on new softs. It's only 4 or 5 laps old. And like, you've got, who was in fourth right behind him?
He pit right behind. Both him and Charles had new softs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
I thought you said 4 or 5 laps old softs.
They were at that point.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess from like the safety car or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And then it was Lando Norris was running in P4 and was right there. I'm like, they could have got the jump on George. They could have got him. Although I think Charles may not have wanted a restart either. He was a little scared too.
Yeah, because that was obviously my hope.
Yeah.
What I just knew this was going to happen, by the way, when we thought we were going to have a restart, like safety car restart or whatever, it was going to go in. I knew Lewis was going to take the fuck off. I knew he was going to take George, and I was like, hold on to it, Charles. This bull's coming. I just knew that somehow Lewis would win in my heart if we had that one lap, but then we didn't. So
yeah, it was all that build up, and we all just knew.
Oh, and then the commentator, we were like, yeah, and then the safety car just kept going, and everything deflated. Yeah,
they said afterward that race control said that it was a technical malfunction of the software or whatever that sent out the graphic notifying that the safety car was coming in. They said that shouldn't have happened because it wasn't called in.
Well, you suck.
Yeah. And so we were all primed and ready, and then all of us were like, it was like a balloon just like deflated. Like,
yes, it was like whatever. Well, we'll get into our team breakdowns now because there is plenty to talk about.
Yeah, so we're going to start with obviously Ferrari. Charles Leclerc finished P1, taking home his first win of the season at Silverstone.
About time.
I think this is his first win ever at Silverstone. He's come close before.
Yeah, I think there's been a few times where didn't work out.
Yeah, and so this is his first win at Silverstone, his first win of the season, and his first win since 2024.
Good Lord.
It's been 600 and something days since his last win. Because remember, last year was the first season in a long time Ferrari hadn't won a race. Like all season. So yeah, this is an excellent weekend for Charles.
It was.
He did great in the race. He did great in qualifying.
No, he did really good.
Antonelli had a really shitty start.
Yeah.
Like really shitty.
Yeah, Kimi did not have a good start.
Yeah, and so Charles took advantage of that and positioned himself very well.
I saw his car when the lights were going down. I was like, oh, look how he's positioned that Ferrari. He was ready.
Yeah, he was like angling. He was like ready to get it. And he committed to the bit and he took first and pretty much stayed there. He commanded first the rest of the race. And
I mean, I guess like when they pitted, but then Antonelli had to pit. So I'm like, he kind of just pits the pit cycle.
He had a net first place after he pit is what they call it.
Net.
Yeah, I mean, great weekend for Charles. He said in his post-race press conferences and interviews and stuff that he had identified something that just wasn't quite working.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was something not suited to his driving style about the car, or there was something that just wasn't quite clicking.
Mm-hmm.
And he said he thought that he had identified something on Friday.
Yeah.
And that he brought it up to the team and either they made some adjustments or he did something different in the way that he was driving or whatever change they made, whether he made a change himself in the way that he was driving and operating the car, or they made a change to the car itself, whatever change they made, because he's been real hush-hush about it. He hadn't really explained.
Yeah, he was like, that's what details I want to go into. And I was like,
yep.
Oh, okay.
But whatever change they made worked because he said he felt so much better in the car. And I mean, clearly he was able to execute. And, it was, people were asking him, basically how he's been handling sucking for the last 2 years, to put it not so eloquently. And he was like, it's one of those cases where he's like, I've never really lacked belief in myself to do it. Cause he's like, like with most drivers, it's not like we just go from knowing how to drive one day to not knowing how to drive the next.
Yeah.
So he's like, it's never a case of like not believing you can do it or that you have the ability to do it. It's just everything has to basically come together to make it happen.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully he can capitalize on this improvement. And, the only thing that'll tell is to see if he can sustain this success and this upward trajectory through the rest of the season. That word fucked me up.
Ooh, it was a little rough, but that's all right.
So
I know I think it was Charles too that basically said not only do they need to look at upgrades when they don't perform, or like not upgrades, but maybe race weekends where it's like
when things don't perform the way they expect them to.
Yeah, when you're like, oh, well, this didn't happen the way I thought it would in a bad way, you always look at it. And he was like, I think we need to do the same thing when we do perform when we did not expect to. Like, wait, why were we so good?
Yeah.
We didn't think we were going to be. So that was a point he made too. And I was like,
fair point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he did good. Happy to see happy boy Charles.
Yeah.
Now we'll get to my guy.
Yes.
Lewis Hamilton. He finished P3. Fun fact for Lewis. He finished on the podium in both the sprint and the Grand Prix. And Lewis he kind of just had a little bit of a rough start with the Grand Prix because he literally, he gets a 5-second penalty almost instantly because, and I agree with DC. Before I say anything, I agree with DC, David Coulthard. So essentially, all 4 lights were on. So, the lights.
There's 5 lights
that
come on after.
They go beep. Beep,
yeah.
Beep, beep,
and then the lights will go out, and then that's when they're allowed to go.
So once those lights engage, though, the car cannot move.
Yeah, once you get to for the first 3 lights, your car, I think, can't go out of your grid box.
Yeah.
Once the 4th light comes on of those 5, you can't move at all.
Yeah.
Your car cannot even shudder a little bit. Like, we're talking millimeters.
Yeah.
Whether it goes out of the box or not.
Yeah, so Lewis's car basically sneezed.
Pretty much. It was like the tiniest little thing.
Like a
hiccup.
Literally no advantage whatsoever because he stopped and then, anyway, but the point is he got a 5-second penalty for it because he jumped the start, even though he didn't really jump the start, but from their definition, I agree with DC because he was having a conversation, and we'll get into that when we get into Kimi Antonelli as well and the penalty he received. He's like, I feel like we can apply some common sense to some of these penalties of was an advantage. Like the whole point is, was there an advantage?
Yeah.
If there's not an advantage, then really, what's the point? Like, what's the for what purpose then? Because if not, then I just don't agree.
But so you then have to look at the reason that false start rule in that specific form was introduced in the first place. Yeah. And if you'll recall, or anyone listening, watching will recall, there was a whole scandal about the starting procedures for races and stuff, where basically there was a way for the teams to like intercept the radio signal that timed when the lights were going
and they
out.
caught everybody who was cheating.
And they caught people. There were several teams on the grid that were cheating, basically. Yeah. And so there were rules then introduced to prevent that from happening. So I would have to think that the whole, like, if your car is moving at all after that fourth light comes on, then that's part of the reason that rule exists. So, you know, I mean, but the rules are the rules.
Whatever. The rules are the rules, and they're lame when they don't go my way.
Lewis did say that he was like, apparently I moved, I guess. He was like, I didn't tell my hand to move. I don't remember telling it to do that. It just did it for some reason.
He's like, when I get caught doing something by accident,
he was
and
like,
I didn't mean to, though.
It just happened.
He goes, I didn't tell my hand to do that. And I was like, Lewis.
Stuff just happens. He said he like moved his hand and that's what caused.
He goes, my brain didn't tell my hand to do that. And I was
he said, but these things just happen sometimes and it is what it is.
He was like, I'm over this shit.
Yeah.
He goes, I'm done. But I mean, he ran second early and then, you know, he picked up his penalty, which he had to serve during his pit stop. But then he fought through again. He passed Max. And then during the safety car, they pit him thinking we were going to have that the safety car would end before the race. It did not, so we gave away a perfectly good P2 for a P3. So,
just to get on some soft tires that ended up not
being used. Yeah. So there's that. But I mean, either way, I don't think it's a like bad weekend for Lewis. I mean, he did, you know, he finished on the podium in both races. I mean, he got some good points. He was super frustrated though. He was over it. He was not into that any conference or the post-race press conference. He was like, "What?" He was late to it.
I saw that he was late. And then there were a couple times where he was asked a question and his response was like a non-answer or like a, what's the point of you even asking me this question? He like the tone of his answer was just kind of like you said, over it.
Yeah. A few questions he like perked up on. And then he was also frustrated because at this point in time, it may not have been decided yet. He thought he was also going to be getting a penalty and losing the podium because of a yellow flag infringement. Mm-hmm. He ended up not getting a penalty. He just got a reprimand.
Oh, yes. I read about that. Mm-hmm. So basically, it happened when the yellow flag came out when Max had his crash. No, it wasn't Max. Was it Hülkenberg?
I don't know, but he was battling Max at the time.
It was Hülkenberg then. So basically, a yellow flag came out and the turn where like Lewis was he was coming out of the turn already past where that had happened and he did not have a yellow flag sensor on his dash. And so he didn't see that. He didn't see the signal for the yellow flag. And at the time he was then in the middle of, like you said, battling Max. So he's checking his mirrors and keeping an eye on what's happening in his proximity, not necessarily looking at the dash. But by the time he would have like reached a point where he could look down, it was then yellow. But it wasn't yellow right when it was happening in like the sector he was in, or he was coming like to the end of the sector anyway. And so basically they determined that it was reasonable, like the actions that he took, it was reasonable to conclude that he didn't like maliciously infringe on the rules, or knowingly infringe on the rules, but he still did infringe the rule. And so they gave him a reprimand instead of any sort of like monetary penalty or like a time penalty or anything like that.
Yeah. So that might have been him being a little bit in a bad mood.
Yeah.
Because he also did like right after the race when they were talking, when he was doing some press, he's like, well, I'm about to get a penalty anyway, so. And they're like, do you know? And he goes, I don't know, probably. Like he was so, he was like, he was sassy. He was sassy Lewis. Like, yeah. But I mean, overall, I think Ferrari's confused. I think the overall feeling for Ferrari is happy, but confused.
Like, okay, we did really good, but then we made a gamble on strategy, which to be fair, I don't know that you can criticize Ferrari too much for the call they made on Lewis's strategy to pit him during the safety car, because it was like, could have gone either way. It just didn't go their way. You're like, no, they fucked up the strategy. They stole his second place from him.
I mean,
the call is coming from inside the house.
Yeah, I'm like, why do you guys hate 1-2 so bad? You son of a bitch. Good God. But yeah, Ferraris, we'll see what happens in Spa. I don't really know that they'll perform well there, but we'll see.
Okay, let's talk about Mercedes. George Russell finished P2. Fun fact, he took home his first home race podium at Silverstone.
I actually feel bad for George because nobody made it a big deal that it was his home race as well. But like Lando has like a 16,000 person grandstand or whatever. And Lewis just exists and everyone's like, yeah. And yeah, I feel like George was super overlooked when it came to the fact that it was his home Grand Prix. That was actually, I saw someone else make the same point that like literally in the post-race interview with like right after the race and they're sitting there talking, they're like, oh, Lewis, your home crowd, this and that. And they're like, and George, how do you feel about today? Like they don't even acknowledge it's also his home crowd. So I feel like George was a little overlooked kind of the whole weekend.
Yeah,
so
to be fair to the Lando stand, I have read that he basically bought out those seats with his own money, and then they basically sell the tickets then in addition to. Like, that's how he even is able to have a Lando stand where like they... Like,
I wasn't like criticizing. I don't think it was
but I mean to say like he's invested in having a visible chunk of the crowd be like his section. Plus he does that super bright as shit yellow green color.
Holy God.
I mean, it was blinding.
Yeah, it was. Even like through the screen. But yeah, George felt just a little bit ignored.
No, poor
and
baby.
Then, oh my God, it was also awkward after he crossed the line and he's like, yeah, guys, good job. I still think that we need to figure out what's going on with the straight line speed. And literally without missing a beat, Toto goes, nothing's wrong with the straight line speed. It's fine. And I'm like, you're in public. Quit reprimanding your child.
I think you could take that one of two ways. One of the ways you could take that is that Toto was essentially saying, like, stop talking about this over the radio because it's like something internal they would want to discuss and not necessarily broadcast to all of their competitors in the world that there's something wrong with their straight line speed. You could interpret it that way.
Sure.
The other way to look at it would be Toto being like, suck it up, bitch. It's not the car, it's you.
That's how I feel like I was interpreting it.
Like, if you want to make up some time and go faster, it's you in the corners. It's not the straight line speed that's the problem.
Yeah, that's how I feel like it came across. Mm-hmm. That was to me.
Could be either way.
And it could be either way. Could be either way. Yeah, George, he's like had a rough weekend though, because even in qualifying, he spins out. Remember? Mm-hmm. And then the camera perfectly cut to Toto. Did you see his face?
No.
He went. And I was like, oh my God.
A face of disgust.
Yes.
Like a face of just like confused, disappointed disgust.
Yes. And then there's just angel baby Kimi going, la, 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 like just fabulous. And I'm like, God, George is like being treated like he's like the middle child.
Literally.
And the middle child gets treated like shit. Like the oldest is Lewis. And the like favorite middle is Max, who's never been on Mercedes, but like you couldn't tell from the way Toto loves him. And then George is the like redheaded step middle child. And then there's baby Kimi.
Yeah.
So anyway, but I mean, George, he benefited from Kimi having late issues and, had whatever, like a brake thing. We'll get into that. And then Max spun out.
Yeah.
That was not his fault though at all. And that was pretty horrible, which we'll get to. But yeah, I mean, he kind of just got lucky.
George has benefited from this in the past. Right place, right time.
Austria.
It is.
Wasn't it like a year or two ago when Lando and Max wrecked?
It's a case of like, you inherit positions, but it is part of your job to maintain your position or put yourself in a position to take advantage if an issue arises.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So if an incident occurs, like what happened, he was in the position to take advantage of it. So, I mean, good on him for that, but he still was very not satisfied at all with his P2.
No. Silverstone was like very bittersweet for the British. Mm-hmm. We were having a conversation off camera where Anna was saying she thinks it's funny that like it's Brit-ish, like you're just like
kind of a Brit. You're not fully Brit. You're just Brit-ish, like you're sort of kind of Brit.
Which we totally understand that it's not what that means, but we just thought it was funny. Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So George just, I don't know. He needs to get it together because I'm
feeling bad for him.
I do, and it's so crazy.
And I'm like, dude, you're running P2 in Silverstone. You're running P2 in the Drivers' Championship. Mm-hmm. Like, I shouldn't feel bad for you, but I low-key do.
So, something he brought up in the post-race press conference was, they were like, you're 25 points away from Kimi. Do you think it should be less? Like, how do you think that's fair across the board because of each person having, he's had failures, he had those penalties in Monaco that really he shouldn't have gotten, but like they can't get reversed like Pierre's did. Say that to say. He was like, I know some people might say maybe it should be 10 points, maybe it should be 35 points. So I think being 25 it seems fair because, we both had our failures. I had those issues in Monaco. And so, I guess it's kind of reset and like, now the playing field's even more like even, but
we did say that, not too long ago that if George was going to catch up to Kimi needed to have a couple of DNFs and George needed to finish first or second place up there in the points. And lo and behold,
all it's going to take is Kimi falling outside the points one more time and George winning. Like literally, if that happens,
and they'll be even.
Yeah, and they'll be even.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, George.
Let's talk about Kimi.
Womp womp, man.
Speaking of the angel baby of the Mercedes team, Kimi Antonelli finished P15. He has now scored 0 points in 2 of the last 3 Grand Prix after going on a 5-race winning streak.
Yeah.
Like,
what goes up must come down.
I guess. Yeah. He was asked about that in one of his post-race interviews. And he said, we were going, basically he said, we went 5 races with me winning in a row. And, you have to kind of think that eventually we'll run into some sort of problem. Like something's going to go wrong at some point. So you can't just expect to maintain that level the whole time.
Me being like, yes, I can.
Yes, I can expect that.
What do you mean?
But he essentially was like, it kind of is what it is. And he didn't seem too worried about it.
Well, something he did.
Yeah.
To be fair, he was 100% going to catch Charles.
Yeah.
He was 2 seconds faster than him. A lap. Like, he was done.
I was concerned. I will admit, until Kimi had his issue.
Oh, 100%.
I was very concerned. And I was like, oh, no, please. Oh, please, Charles. Please hold him off. Please defend with your life. With your life.
Just take him out.
You need to pretend like he's Max Verstappen. Either you're going to win or you're both going to crash. Like,
it was an incident.
Yeah, there cannot be any other option. But Kimi, I think the win was within his grasp.
100%.
And then he had a problem and boy was panicking. Like on the radio, because at first it was he basically he said there's something wrong with the car because he just all of a sudden started going super slow. And they thought maybe there was a puncture or something, or there was damage.
Is it a hydraulic thing? Is it this?
Yeah, they were trying to troubleshoot basically, and they're asking him for more information, and he's like, I don't know. He's like, something's just wrong with the car.
Find it.
And he's like, I'm coming in, like, fix it. And I guess at that point, all the people on the pit wall are like scrambling, looking at all the sensor data and like what's could possibly go wrong.
Yeah.
And so he goes into the pit, and they end up swapping the nose of the car, the whole front wing. Like they took it off and put a new one on. I think I remember. And he went back out. And then he still had the same problem and came back in. And they tried to change something else.
Well, they realized it was the wheel shield. And they just were like, let me just remove that real quick. And then he was fine.
Yeah. Well, he went back out, but then at that point, he was back in the traffic. I think he was running it right at like, I forget where exactly he came out, but he was like, at one point, they wanted him to come in to retire the car because he was still having problems. And they were like, box to retire the car. And Kimi's like, no.
Well, he said, what position am I in?
Yeah. And he's like, I can get, even if it's a single point, he's like, I can try. Let me try. And I was like, oh.
No, that
was such an endearing moment of like, he's like, because as we saw last year, Max Verstappen came within 2 points of Lando Norris, when Lando winning the championship. So it comes down to every single point matters.
Yep.
And I mean, Kimi was like, no, if I can get a point, I'm getting a point.
And he would have got that point if he did not get a 5-second penalty for leaving the track too many times. And here's the thing I agree with DC on as well. That all happened. He did not gain any time advantage every time he went off the track. And it was also because there was something wrong with the car.
So when you say leaving the track, you mean track limits?
Yeah, I mean,
not that he was leaving the track going into like the pit lane too many times.
No.
I'm like, because I was like, that was worded a little ambiguously.
No. So yeah, he got a 5-second penalty for
track limits.
Track limits, basically. And the thing is it's like, but they said leaving the track. So I don't know if it was track limits or like, I don't know what the difference is, because you have leaving the track and gaining an advantage, and then you have track limits. This was worded as for leaving the track too many times. That sounds like track limits, but either way, as she'll fact check it, but I explain my opinion.
Correct.
Is regardless, he didn't gain an advantage from that. Like that was happening because there was something wrong with the car. If anything, it literally was just hindering him and hurting his time. So like David Coulthard was saying, like, I feel like we can apply some sort of common sense when we go to apply these and go, was there an advantage here? Like, I get what the rule is, but are we applying it with the mindset of, is there an advantage? Like, can you see there's an advantage to them doing that? And clearly there wasn't.
It was track limits.
Okay. So I'm like, but
the rules is the rules.
The rules is the rules. It just felt a little silly. I mean, my opinion.
They one of them brought up, and it might have been DC. Is either DC or maybe Joylyn Palmer. It was one of them. Brought up the point that it was only a couple years ago that they changed the rule that like, because it used to be you got a penalty if you were forced off track while you were battling with somebody. If they forced you off track, you could also get a penalty for leaving the track. And exceeding track limits.
Call the police.
Yeah, it was only a couple years ago that they like modified that rule to clarify.
That's silly.
Yeah,
that's just silly.
Mm-hmm.
He ran me off the road. Well, you're getting a penalty for it.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah, I feel bad for Kimi because I definitely think that he had the pace. It sucks, but it happens, and I think it's what's more interesting to me is Mercedes has shown a reliability issue, and. Honey, you could have the fastest car on the grid, but if it can't finish the race, it don't matter.
Exactly.
So
yeah, it was. Kimi has shown that he struggles with starts. We saw that at the beginning of the season. We thought he had kind of figured it out, but again, he struggled with his starting procedure or whatever it was. He struggled off the line this weekend. But that car is fast enough and he is willing to commit enough. He's brave enough on the brakes, out driving his teammate, George Russell, that he's fast. And that car is fast. And he has the ability that even he's able to drive fast enough that he can overcompensate for a shitty start.
Kimi has definitely proven that he can perform in the car.
Yeah.
And the car has the speed to make up for any bad start he has. But I mean, if it can't.
Yeah. But then, and I think it's interesting that his age does show and his inexperience does show when something does go wrong and he panics. Yes. Like that was the sound of a terrified 19-year-old if I've ever heard it.
Yes.
Over the radio when he was having that problem. And Bono's trying to be like, what's wrong with the car? And he's like, I don't know. Fix it.
No, literally.
That made me laugh a little.
But well, it sucks for Kimi, but congratulations to George for getting his first podium at his home race. And hopefully Mercedes can figure out what's going on. Because even though we thought it was the wheel shield, like you said, Kimi was still like, nah, man, something's not right. So that's a little concerning.
Yeah.
Especially with like Mercedes slowly bringing upgrades. You're just like, well, what's not meshing here? But I don't know.
Moving on to McLaren. Lando Norris finished P4. He lost a place off the line and spent a lot of the race battling Isaac Hadjar, with McLaren lacking the pace to join the fight at the front, and he benefited from late issues from others, i.e. Max Verstappen, to finish P4 at his home Grand Prix.
Yeah, his stand was popping.
That yellow blinding, I mean...
Listen, you know what? Good for him. I mean, I guess because I'm such in the Lewis Hamilton world of Formula One and Max Verstappen because they're my faves. And I'm saying my three, if I have to say my three because I'm a team player, Charles is going to be in my top three because he's in my top five because I have to change. I'm just kidding. No, but anyway, my point is my social media feed in my realm is Lewis and Max. But freaking Lando's fan base is huge, dude. It's massive. So big. It's just insane. That you could, even from when the drivers were just driving, if it was an onboard, you could see when they were, it's crazy. And
nothing but that fluorescent yellow. Yeah. And it's so funny because you see other sections of the stands, and it's a smattering of colors. You can say, oh, there's some Ferrari reds and there's some Mercedes blues and silvers. Of red this weekend. And you can see the regular McLaren orange peppered in, and there's some Aston Martin green. And
is there?
Yeah, a little bit, a couple. There's a couple.
Well, yeah, of course, we love Fernando.
Yeah. So, it's like a mix throughout everywhere else. And this just one stand that I think it's such a brilliant like marketing thing
That
for
was so
him.
smart.
Like
him.
so that and to call it the Lando stand. And
like you said, the work he had to do to get it done. And like, so I joined his mailing list a long time ago when he announced he was gonna be trying to do this, like after last year's British Grand Prix. And I was on the list, and we all got these emails. I was like, hey, it's happening. I mean, like you said, it was a very involved process. And so I'm like, it's cool to see a driver like love their fans that much.
Oh, yeah.
And
really
it's
reach
grown.
out. So like the Lando stand last year was the first year that they did it, I believe. And it was a much smaller stand. But I guess, him winning the world championship, the demand has grown exponentially. And so they increased it to that huge section where it's just
Crazy.
A sea of people. I mean, it was nuts.
I saw one guy, which it cracked me up. It was a guy in the Lando stand, and someone was sitting behind them, and they said, when you want to hang out in the Lando stand, but you got to be in camouflage or something, and they were wearing the color, but it was 44 Hamilton on the back.
That's funny.
And I was like, okay, that's
it's
funny.
like the color has to match.
The color has to match, and I want to sit here.
Camouflage, that's funny.
But yeah, Lando, I just feel like McLaren's so boring right now. And I mean boring in the sense of like they're struggling, they're having issues.
The car's just not fast. It's not fast
It's
enough.
not consistent. Like they're having all these issues with on and off the track, where like off the track being, if they can't even get the car on the track for certain practice sessions. And it's not hooked up yet. And it's a shame. So yeah, Lando did say that P4 was better than McLaren's realistic pace, and so he's happy for P4, but they got to figure out, like, they basically just got lucky.
Yeah, and unluckily, Oscar Piastri finished P11. He was caught up in a lap 1 incident with Liam Lawson, got damage to his front wing, so he had to pit and replace that. Dropped down in the order, and then was just never able to recover from that early damage.
It seems like the McLaren is do or die when it comes to qualifying, and because like they don't have the pace to fight through the pack, at least not at
slow. The car is just slow.
It's just not, something just ain't feeling right. So sucks for our last year's constructor champion and our driver.
Yeah. So McLaren is just kind of like a wah wah.
Yeah, it's kind of just.
They exist. They're there.
They're there, and they're obviously better. And they're almost, this is going to sound, they're definitely the bottom of the top 4 teams.
Yes.
At this point, like, watch out, and they're going to be arguing with Alpine. Like, get it together. You don't want to be the best midfield team, McLaren.
God forbid they drop down there.
Yeah, because Alpine and Racing Bulls, like, I
feel like McLaren had to fight their way up to be considered one of the front-running teams.
I think for a while they were kind of like,
they sucked ass for a while. Like when Lando first joined McLaren, they sucked ass.
Yeah.
Like they were not good.
Yeah.
And he has been with them ride or die, and they fought back to the top. And this year it's just like,
I mean, and it could definitely be worse.
Could be.
I.e., Aston Martin, Cadillac, for whatever, Williams most of the time.
Yeah. Could be worse.
Haas.
They could be Haas. Could be worse.
Whatever.
Okay, so we'll wrap up there with McLaren.
Yeah.
Moving on to Red Bull. I know, poor Max.
No.
Max had a DNF, as we mentioned earlier in the episode. He wasn't happy with the car pretty much the whole weekend. He's like, this piece of shit.
No, that's exactly what he called it at the end.
Yeah, so he started off okay. He was fighting George Russell and Lewis Hamilton for a good bit during the middle of the race. And it was pretty good battles. Like, it was pretty intense. They were, all 3 of them bunched up together. It was, at one point, I think I texted you, because for those who don't know, we text each other throughout the race as we're watching in our separate homes.
Yes.
And so I texted you that it's kind of like funny to see George in a sandwich, because he was sandwiched between Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen, 2 world champions, 2 bitter rivals, if you believe the stories and all that jazz. They seem to be friendly now, but
until they're on track and they're like, move.
So I was like, I would not want to be the George Russell in the middle of that sandwich.
Absolutely not.
No, I was like, someone's gonna get hurt. They didn't, fortunately, but Max did end up having an issue with the car where basically he's going into a turn, and they said the rear wing, like, so they have active aero, which means there's the rear and the front wing both open. And they're supposed to close completely, but the rear wing didn't close all the way. Like it closed, but it didn't line up exactly. And so that caused there to not be the drag on the car that there was supposed to be. And so you can see on his onboard, he feels that it doesn't do what it's supposed to do at that part of the track. He tries to straighten out the car because he knows what's going to happen. And then it ends up the rear end just spins out from him, and he goes into the gravel. So, and that was the end of the race for him, and he was pissed.
Well, he was pissed because apparently that almost happened in Austria, which I wasn't even aware of. And so when he brought that up, and he's like, it's just dangerous. It's
a case of like, yes, that upgrade has made the car faster, but it's unreliable in that it doesn't work the same way every single time. And like you said, and like he said, that's dangerous. And he's like, they're trying to get somebody killed out here.
Yeah.
And he's not trying to get killed out here.
No, and he literally said, that's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
Listen, he's a new dad. He's a bonus dad. He's pretty much a husband. Like, he ain't got time for all that.
He got family.
Yeah, he got a family, and he got a life, and he got people he want to spend time with. He was like, I ain't trying to die out here.
Mm-mm.
Like, I love racing, but I don't think so. So he was super pissed off. There's literally a video of him, like, stomping up these sticks. Just, he was so pissed when he got back to, like, the Red Bull little, like, area.
I imagine him, I literally was about to be like, he's stomping like a bull. Like, I can just see him, like, spitting mad, just like.
There's a video of Joss Verstappen, his dad, and then Laurent Mekies, and Max is just going up these stairs, and Joss is like, I'm gonna let you deal with that. He's like, I'm going this way. So, yeah.
I would not want to be on the receiving end of a Max Verstappen, like, tirade.
To me, the only person that could handle it, I would assume, would be his dad.
Yeah.
And he didn't want any part of it, it looked like. So
his dad was like, that's too much.
He said, you know what? Let's let him cool off.
I'm tapping out.
Yeah. That sucked for Max.
On the other side of the Red Bull garage, we had Isaac Hadjar finishing P5.
He did good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, so he battled Max a little early, lost out in the opening phase. Kind of struggled for grip with the hard tire in the second stint. Couldn't really get close enough to challenge Lando Norris. Lando was kind of like in a world of his own for a little chunk of the race, I think.
Yeah, he was like, for a long time, Isaac was like there
Mm-hmm.
and just could not.
Yeah.
And then he also, but there was clearly a big enough gap behind him because he also pit, and I didn't even realize he did, for softs and nothing happened. So,
yeah.
I mean, yeah, but P5, I mean, that's still pretty good. Like, this is definitely the best in a while we've seen from the second Red Bull driver.
Yeah. It's like kind of, I guess, like a mixed bag for Red Bull, the takeaways from this weekend, where on the one hand, there's promise in the speed of the car. Before Max had his issue, he was fighting for a podium. You know, we have Isaac finishing P5, so he's up there in the points too, finishing close behind, or would have finished close behind his teammate. So there's some positives, kind of, but the unreliability of that rear wing issue is a serious problem.
Yeah.
Because like you said earlier, it doesn't matter how fast your car is if it can't finish the race.
Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like Red Bull, if they can just unlock whatever they need to unlock, they're going to be back on top. Because, I mean, they have the best combustion engine, and I'm like, man, that's clearly what's getting Mercedes across. Like, why they're faster than everybody.
You have the best combustion engine on the grid. You have arguably the best driver on your team.
Yeah, no, he is.
As I said, arguably. So there's no reason you shouldn't be doing better than what you are. So Red Bull just needs to get it together.
It's like having all the ingredients to make the perfect cake, and you're just like, how the fuck do I make this thing?
You're like, where's the whisk?
What am I missing? Like, I got everything here.
Literally, you're like, where's my measuring cup?
Yeah, like,
I have everything I need. I just can't put it together.
They will eventually.
And then looking at the sister team, our little baby Racing Bulls.
I love Racing Bulls.
Let me tell you something. We got a little P6, P7 action going.
Double points for both. Again. They're only a few points behind Alpine now. They then brought the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Get out the way.
Yeah, Liam Lawson finished P6. Fun fact, Racing Bulls scored with both cars for the 4th straight Grand Prix.
They're killing it.
So, 4 in a row. Liam avoided, he had that incident with Oscar Piastri on the opening lap, but he avoided any sort of major issues with that, showed some strong pace, and finished P6.
Yeah, he did a good job.
Yeah, and Arvid Lindblad came in P7. He had a strong start, went side by side with Max Verstappen.
Oh my God, I saw
3.
that. And I didn't know which one it was at first, and I was like, and then I was like, Arvid!
But he wasn't able to hold position and brought home P7.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, Racing Bulls, they've been super consistent, and they're coming to be the top midfield team. And I love it because I love Racing Bulls.
Yeah.
So good on them. I mean, really nothing else to say besides they just had a good, solid race.
Let's talk about Audi. We had Gabriel Bortoleto, who finished P8, and this is their Audi's first points score since Australia.
That's insane.
That was the first race of the year.
That it was.
We were really pulling for Nico Hülkenberg to get a point this weekend.
I just knew.
To replicate the magic that he had at Silverstone last year when he got his podium.
His first ever podium.
Yeah, and he DNF'd.
No, yeah. Hülkenberg had issues from the start. He struggled with tire management after pushing in dirty air, and then he had a small spin, then retired with a gearbox problem. So just... God, Hülkenberg is just that driver that has never been with the right team at the right time, it feels like, because I just feel like Nico, it's like a Pierre Gasly before Pierre Gasly, where it's like he's just not been with the right team at the right time because he's such a good driver. Like you could go on about Pierre and I could go on about Nico. Like it's unfair.
It's like he's never been able to fully unlock all the potential that he has, like you said, because he's never been with the right team at the right time.
God, just imagine like this established, seasoned, just experienced driver in a good car.
I would love to see Nico Hülkenberg driving for like Racing Bulls.
Oh my God.
Could you imagine?
He'd be fighting Red Bull.
Could you imagine?
I could.
Nico in that Racing Bulls car? I mean, it's not the worst idea in the world. I feel like you'd get him for a bargain.
Liam and Arvid are like, hey,
hey,
what do you mean? What are you talking about? But no, I was so disappointed for Nico. I'm happy for Gabby that P8, but I mean, just not really satisfied with that as overall, but happy for Gabby.
Moving on to our other midfield team who should be doing better than they are. But I mean, I guess they're there. Alpine
did good considering they didn't really qualify well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so we had Franco coming in P9 and Pierre finishing P10.
Yeah, and Franco Colapinto started P19.
I mean, that's really good.
So, I mean, he had a strong start. He got involved in early wheel-to-wheel battles. And see, here's the thing. So I go through this article that comes out to try to make sure I know a little bit about everybody's race because we only learned so much on the broadcast. And so I saw where Colapinto said he was involved in some early wheel-to-wheel battles. And I said, were you? Because I didn't see him. And that's where some of my issues come out. Like, why, if that's the case, because I mean, he would know he was driving the fucking car. Why didn't I see the battles? Like, you literally, there was a point in the race where nothing was happening. You don't want to flash, like, do a little rewind and let me see it. Like, you'll show me the start 5 times to see the same car suck at the start. So I don't understand why I'm not seeing certain things. So that was where my main complaint came from. Because I'm like, well, damn, Franco, I would have loved to see it because going from P19 and then finishing P9 in that little Alpine, that's pretty good. And he was he qualified behind Pierre. So, you know, and then he finished ahead of him. So anyway, Colapinto had a solid first stint on his mediums. He was able to make passes on track, which I didn't get to see. And then he chased Antonelli late for the final point, and he ended up getting P9 because of Antonelli's penalty. So, yeah,
fun fact for Pierre Gasly, he reached 500 career points in Formula One with his single point finish.
Yay!
So good for him. Yeah, and I mean, I always say Pierre Gasly is one of my underrated drivers. I think he's got such great potential and such a good racecraft, and he's just such a solid, good driver that, again, just hasn't really been with the right team quite at the right time that matched like the skill level he was at the time.
Or willing to just help him extract his skill, Red Bull. Like, just, well, who said the victim of the Red Bull? Who said that? You mentioned it where like...
Oh, it's like no,
but I remember a commentator said it last time.
Something about being the victim of like the Red Bull...
the Red Bull...
Red Bull... academy or like development program basically is like the latest victim of it. Where
who was it? Hinchcliffe who said that?
I forget who it was.
I know it was. That sounds like something Hinchcliffe would say.
Probably.
Yeah.
I think I may have sent you a voice note about it because I'm recalling.
Yes, because I'm like, so it was a very specific. Anyway, so no, I agree. Pierre is like, I think he's underrated, and I hope to see Alpine be. I mean, they should be finishing in the points, but it doesn't need to be because Antonelli gets a penalty.
Yeah, and like you said, clearly they had the race pace because Franco, Jesus, his name left my mind. I was like, what? Where's his name? What's his name? Franco, like you said, started P19 and finished P9. So clearly there's some pace in the car and they can make some moves and get up the grid. So if they were just qualifying better, who knows? Did we not have the same exact conversation a week or two ago?
Probably.
I feel like we did. Qualify better.
So same shit, different day, y'all.
I guess. But they did get double points, so, good for them.
Good for them, but Racing Bull's coming to get you.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk about, or not, Williams.
No thanks.
No
Next.
thanks.
I'm kidding.
Williams continues to disappoint. Unfortunately, Carlos Sainz came in P17. Alex Albon had a DNF. I feel so bad for Alex. Like, I don't
know what he was doing though. Like he like just the car wasn't turning. It was understeer. And who did he hit? Behrman. It was Ollie Behrman. I was like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, what are you doing?
I mean, I feel like every time I see Alex Albon post something on Instagram about qualifying or the race or how the weekend went, it's always like, we just sucked. Like, it was like bad weekend, bad qualifying, issues made it tough, blah, blah, blah. Like all this stuff about just like everything is just bad.
Well, it is. He's right. And good. Criticize. Because James Vowles, where did the development go that you apparently were taking all the last 2 years of the last regulations to develop? Where'd it go? Where did it go? Did someone come steal it? Where is it? Because I don't see it anymore.
Yeah. I just feel really bad for Carlos and Alex.
I feel horrible for Carlos Sainz, though, because here's the thing. Like, of course I feel bad for Alex, but he kind of made this bet a while ago.
He's been with Williams long enough to be familiar with this feeling.
Carlos Sainz is I think he's one of the best drivers on the grid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I would say he's in top 6 drivers if he's in a good car, I would think.
I mean, he's in my top 5.
So to see this be the outcome of the deal with Williams after, God, and then in Drive to Survive, they're all like James like whining and dining Carlos.
Like, James
this whole
Vowles
deal.
is the reason Carlos signed with Williams. He convinced him and was able to get him to buy into the idea.
He convinced me.
Me too.
I've been lied. We've all been lied
We've been hoodwinked.
So it's just horrible. I mean, and Carlos had a great start. He climbed into P10, but he didn't have the race pace to hold off anybody. And the upgrades aren't delivering as expected. And Carlos basically said it's a wake-up call for them, and he wants... Oh, and he was also investigated post-race and given a 1-lap penalty for unlapping himself when he was not entitled to.
Oh,
Didn't even know about that.
That was crazy. I did see that. So basically what had happened was he thought he was lapped, and he was at one point, but then because of they kept saying the unique layout of the pit entry and exit at Silverstone, that by the time he went in through the pit and by the time he came back out, he wasn't lapped anymore. I don't know how that happened.
But they're ahead of you.
I don't know.
What?
That's just what it said, but that it ended up that he wasn't lapped anymore by the time he came back out. And so then
I can get unlapped when cars pass me when I'm in the pit?
I don't know. So he wasn't entitled to unlap himself, and so he didn't realize it. His team didn't realize it, but his team and him also his team didn't listen to the directions from race control, because the race control, they specifically said these number cars can unlap themselves, and he was not listed. And so that's a miscommunication. He was like, la, la, la. Yeah, that's a miscommunication.
I wonder where he was before that. I don't know, but it sucked for Carlos. It's super just disappointing every time we get to Williams lately, and I would just love for that to not be the case, but I had a lot of hope for Williams, and it's just every week I'm disappointed.
So we looked into it, and basically, yes, the way that the Silverstone pit lane is configured, you can enter the pit lane, cross where the start finish line would be, but then the exit to the pit lane is way after it. And so with the way that the safety car and Charles would have been running, it's possible for Charles and the safety car to go past the pit lane entry, for Carlos to go into the pit lane. He could have crossed the start finish line before Charles and the safety car did, made his pit stop, But by the time he then exits so technically at that specific moment, he is not a lapped car because he's ahead of Charles in the safety car when he's in the pit lane. However, Charles crosses the safety line or the start line after. And then by the time Charles and the safety car get to the pit lane exit, Carlos exits the pit lane, he would have been essentially back where he started.
Yeah,
roughly.
then he's back to being a lapped car.
Back to being a lapped car. So technically, in that one particular moment, he was not designated as a lapped car.
Which is why they didn't give directions for him to unlap himself.
Exactly. And we all know that Formula One is a sport of technicalities and margins and very specific rules.
Unless it's Abu Dhabi 2021, then we can do what we want.
Pretty much. So yeah, there was a very specific track layout and set of circumstances that caused this to happen. But the bigger issue is that the race control said these numbered cars, and they gave every numbered car that they gave permission to unlap themselves. And number 55, Carlos Sainz, was not one of those. And so the race engineer, there was a communication problem between race control, his race engineer, and him.
Mm-hmm.
Something happened where he was told to unlap himself and he was not supposed to be.
Yeah. And
so to me, that's not his fault.
No, that's not his fault. And that was just lame.
Yeah.
Lame. Of course, add it to the Williams woes.
Pretty much.
Now we can talk about Haas. Or we don't have to, whichever y'all would prefer. Which is interesting that Williams was, for whatever reason, before Haas in that article. Normally, the article is laid out with, first, second,
roughly in the order they finished.
And then Haas, I'm like, okay, they're... whatever. We have Oliver Behrman. He finished P12. Ollie had a poor start and dropped into the pack at Brooklands, where he was attacked by Alex Albon.
This is clipped. We're taking some artistic creative license here. Attacked.
I wrote it. I can do what I want.
Embellishments.
Yeah, so he was attacked by Alex Albon and spun around on the opening lap. He struggled in dirty air and said Haas did not have the pace to overtake, though he found better speed in clean air later before finishing outside the points, which I feel like it's a silly thing to say, that you found speed in clean air because duh. So, no Next, Esteban Ocon finished P13. It's funny because I literally, for whatever reason, Haas is on my nerves so bad because they're supposed to be better than this. And I'm like, let me cover these bitches. We have Esteban Ocon, P13. Ocon had a brilliant opening lap, gaining several places. He did, actually. Gaining several places around the outside and running near the points early before slowly falling back. Haas tried to take advantage of a virtual safety car, but it ended almost immediately as he came in, and a right rear issue during his pit stop made the stop much longer, and I do remember that because I was like, well, what's happening here? So, Haas is just supposed to be better. They're supposed to be competing with Alpine, and I mean, they kind of are, I guess, from where they finished, sort of, but it's just not as impressive. And I mean, they clearly lack race pace, and they need to figure it out because they're on my nerves. And pretty much, I think that sums it up.
Haas is on my nerves.
Yep.
Bring back Gunter Steiner. No.
I like Komatsu.
Yeah.
But I mean, we only have one. We have two characters.
Yeah,
we have a few.
My thought is saying bring back Gunter is that if you're not going to be a good team, be an entertaining team. And at least Gunter, to me, is entertaining.
He is. He is funny. That'd be fun. Bring it back somehow.
Yeah.
Honestly, bring back Christian Horner too while you're at it.
I mean,
to be honest, don't we all kind of miss that little rat terrier? I mean, even though, well, I guess that's not a good thing to say as a woman, considering he's a fucking creep, I guess. That's not allegedly in the secret courts that aren't allowed to go public because everything's sealed. That they settled, though. It is settled. Remember we talked about that they got settled after our episode about him. But it's settled, so, I mean, bring him back. Maybe he was seen in the paddock. Rumors are circulating that they could be bringing him in for, was Aston Martin? I think Aston Martin was the rumor.
Yeah.
Now we get to USA. USA. USA.
Let me tell you something right now. Cadillac, if you can figure it out and get it together and even be like a midfield team in the next 2 to 3 years, I'm on board.
Oh, honey.
I'm sold. You ain't got to do nothing else because let me tell you something. In America, for those who don't know, we take our Independence Day celebration very seriously.
We're brainwashed very well to have pride in our country, but also criticize it nonstop.
that's part of taking pride in your country, is being like, we can always do better.
Yes.
And so and this year in particular is America's 250th birthday or anniversary of declaring our independence from Britain. And I just find it so funny that they love to run the British Grand Prix the same weekend as our Independence Day. It's like every year, and it feels intentional.
Well, to be honest, I never noticed it until Cadillac was like, USA.
I noticed it last year too, and I was like, this feels un-American. This feels...
Well, it's not about us.
I know, but I mean, it should be. But it felt very pointed.
It should be. And all the fucking American teams suck.
But so, we, like I said, we take our Independence Day very seriously, and we're all about, that red, white, and blue. And Cadillac fully leaned in. They committed 100%, and I'm here for it.
Loved the helmets.
I mean, it was giving America. It was giving bald eagle. Like it was
perfect.
It was beautiful. It was glittery. It was obnoxious, and I was all about it. I loved it. They didn't do anything worth really noting.
Yes, they did.
Did they?
Both cars crossed the finish line.
Oh, God.
Valtteri Bottas finished a race for the first time since Canada. Okay? It was a big deal. We finished the race.
Let's go.
Sergio Perez finished P14 and Valtteri Bottas finished P16.
You know what America stands for? The bare minimum. That's what we stand for. So Cadillac is, I think, was it you that pointed out to me that all of Cadillac's sponsors are American businesses?
Mm-hmm.
So I noticed they had Jim Beam as one of their sponsors, and I was like, oh, and it's an American alcohol brand. And so I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I didn't know that. And then you were like, oh yeah, I'm pretty sure all their sponsors are American teams. And I'm like, wait a minute. I could be on board for this because they do have an American driver in the pipeline to be one of their drivers. They have
Colton Herta.
Yes,
not
Colton
impressed.
Herta running in Formula 2 right now.
Formula 2, and I'm gonna be honest, I watch Formula 2.
Mid.
Okay. I mean, and I think it's interesting. So we're talking about Cadillac. We'll talk about him for just a second. So Colton Herta had a lot of success in IndyCar, and I think he's actually the youngest IndyCar winner. But that has not translated to Formula 2. So I find it interesting because a lot of Formula drivers will eventually go to IndyCar.
Mm-hmm.
And ain't a lot of IndyCar people going straight to Formula stuff. So it's not exactly the same thing. It's not translating. Colton's had a very... I don't think it's very impressive. And I'm not saying that to be like mean. I'm saying that as it's not as if like all that success in IndyCar is going to guarantee you immediately get the feel of this car.
And you know what that is interesting to me in particular is about the super license points system and the way that it works. So for those who don't know, in order to qualify to be a Formula One driver, you have to be a minimum age, which is 18. And unless you get like a special permission waiver thing.
Or unless they change the rule that year.
Yeah. Like Kimi Antonelli.
Kimi and then Max, whatever they need.
So you have to be 18 years old and you have to have you have to have your super license, which basically you achieve by driving in other racing series and doing well. And where you finish in the other racing series and in other races, you garner a certain number of points and you have to build up to a certain number of points to get your super license. And there has been some criticism of the super license point system because you can get some super license points through other racing series outside of Formula racing. But it's not as many points.
Yeah.
And like the point system works a little differently in that to where it seems that like if you're not a Formula 432 series, then it's like F1 or the FIA is basically saying like your series doesn't count as much or it's not as worthy of getting super license points.
Well, that was why there was a big push to have a Formula 4 series over here, which
in the USA.
We really need, in the USA, which we really need more attention on that. So someone should, I mean, I don't understand why Andretti hasn't really pushed a lot of that. But anyway, I say that another reason too that I think it's interesting is like the Formula cars they're so different. Like Formula 2 and 3, they're so different than a Formula 1 car that it makes me wonder. Like they don't have power steering in Formula 2, Formula 3. I don't know the mechanics of an Indy car. I don't know how similar it is to an actual Formula 1 car. So it would be interesting to know how like Herta does on like F1 testing versus just going to the bare bone F2 car that has so much less technology that I'm assuming than his Indy car did. So I find that interesting too, because it's almost like you're going backwards with less technology, less help. But when you're in Formula One, you have way more technology, you have power steering. It's like a different monster. So
I do know that, so Pato O'Ward, who is an IndyCar driver for Arrow McLaren, he he frequently will do like testing sessions with McLaren for Formula One.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done interviews before where people have asked him that question of like, what's the sort of the difference between driving the two cars, or can you tell a difference and stuff like that? And he said it's like there's a huge difference between an Indy car and a Formula One car.
Mm-hmm.
He said Formula One cars are so fast, or at least they were when the last time he test drove one, which would have been last year. I don't know how fast the cars are this year compared to last year in terms of like top speed and all that jazz. However, he basically he made the comparison and said that the Formula One car that he drove was like, oh my God, it's like a rocket ship. It's so much faster than the Indy car that he had driven. And at that point, his goal I think he would have said that one of those goals would have been to eventually get to Formula One.
Oh yeah, that's not now.
But he has changed his mind. He has since reverted his position. He said, yeah, those Formula One cars look slow.
Yeah,
and he's like, I'm not interested in that. The fastest racing on earth right now is an Indy car. So I'm happy here, basically. But I said all that to say he's made the comparison before. So you may want to try, if anyone's interested, you may be able to look that up, that interview he did.
I'll look that up. But that's Cadillac, USA. They crossed the line. Good for them.
Woo.
And last and least, last and not least, but it is least, Aston Martin. Fernando Alonso finished P18 and Lance Stroll finished P19. Oh my God, I thought Alonso was trying to pull a Sonny Hayes because his car switched off during the formation lap. And I was like, oh my God, he's going to have really hot tires and hot everything by the time, if he makes it. But then he ended up having to start, he drove into the pit lane to start from there.
Was it because he was just too far back from the formation grid?
Yeah, I think at that point, just to be safe, he went and did
the pit lane start.
Yeah, he did the pit lane start just because I think he had fallen back too far. And if he would have made it, it would have been so close. I just don't think it was worth the try.
Because you have to be in your grid box, stationary.
Everyone's supposed to be lining up. So it's like if the car ahead of you is in their grid box, you're supposed to be pulling in yours.
Yeah.
So I thought he was pulling a Sonny Hayes at first, but his car just shut off. So his car shut off. He was able to restart it and peel into the pit lane to start the race from there. He stopped twice during the race as Aston Martin tried to learn more for development and said the team needs to investigate the issue while hoping improvements come the second half of the year. So that is something to note. Aston Martin they are bringing big upgrades after summer break, from my understanding.
Okay, I'll believe it when I see it.
I also think something we didn't say for Williams, Alex Albon, he did have that DNF, and because Fernando said they used this as a testing session, they did the same thing with Alex Albon. After he attacked Ollie Behrman and he picked up a time penalty, and so we had to get a new front wing. Basically, they ended up using Alex's session as just some testing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, back to Aston Martin. So Fernando was like, why is my car shutting off? Can y'all really figure that out, please? Thank you. And then there's Lance Stroll, who decided to be a wet blanket earlier in the weekend and say he did not want to race Lego cars or Lego little go-karts. And you know what? Why the fuck not? Is it too fast? Is it too fast compared to your F1 car? Are you scared of it? Like, what's the problem?
He was just being a total wet blanket. I'm like, where's his whimsy? Where's his, like, he always seemed so bored to me.
I feel like
he apathetic. He comes across as very apathetic, and I'm just like,
is he ever happy? I'm like,
are you ever having fun?
I feel like his dad is like, you're gonna get out there and you're gonna race that race car and you're gonna like it. And Lance is like, oh, okay, I guess.
Lance Stroll comes across as very apathetic to me in a lot of the interviews I've seen of him talking about either racing or the car or the weekend or the stuff he has to do. And I'm just like, can we have a little bit of joy?
He's a little sad boy Lance.
A little bit. And I'm like, is it just because the car's not good? Is that why you're like seem to not be enjoying it? I mean, to be fair, I might also not enjoy my job if my job was to race cars and my car was the slowest one or didn't finish races or kind of just sucked in general.
So I feel like Lance Stroll is in a unique position where he's never going to have to worry about his seat. So it's like, to me, one of the most frustrating things, if I imagine as a driver, is to be on a shit team and then to be held responsible for the outcome of like your position when like you're so out of, like, it's not in your control how the car's performing because the car's shit. Mm-hmm. But then you still feel this sense of like, fuck, I'm going to get kicked off the team because I'm not performing. Mm-hmm. And I don't feel like Lance has that problem.
He doesn't have that anxiety or that worry or sense of like, I need to do something to make something happen.
To me, that's where I feel like a lot of the drivers get. I mean, of course, everybody wants to perform because they want to perform. They're the most competitive guys in the world, right? Mm-hmm. But I also do feel like so much of that like pressure comes from like your seat is never a given unless like with Lance, who's taking your seat? Your daddy owns the team. And that's not me. I know I'm saying your daddy owns the team. It sounds like it's a criticism. Good for you, dude. I wish my dad owned an F1 team. Like, whatever. Yeah. But, like, so to me, I'm like, it almost feels like because of that security, I would allow myself to maybe
not get so worked up.
Be so worked up or not be so, like, down and out and maybe try to, like, bring some positivity to the team publicly. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know. He might be the most positive, upbeat guy in the garage, and I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
But publicly, he's just very, like you said, apathetic and
flat affect. Flat. Yeah, just not giving much of anything.
No. So, I don't know.
Like, I want to root for him.
Yeah, like I would love. Like we've defended Lance in Canada when Jordan Palmer is sometimes like not a Lance Stroll fan. At least it comes across like that.
Yeah, he's a little bit of a hater.
And he's kind of a hater. So that being said, I like Aston Martin. Like I like the color a lot. I love Fernando Alonso. I hope that after summer break, these upgrades that they're going to bring really come to fruition for them. Mm-hmm. And with that, we can get into our best and worst segment. So my driver
of the day is Charles Leclerc.
Obviously,
I have to say it first.
I know.
I'm taking it. It's mine.
My driver of the day.
You can also pick Charles if you want.
I'm kidding.
My driver of the day is Sergio Perez.
My driver of the day is Valtteri Bottas.
Because he had an American flag.
Because he finally finished Montreal. My driver of the day is Alex Albon because he just decided to have violence today and attack Ollie. Driver of the day. Honestly, like...
Lewis was too upset after the race.
I don't so much mind that because
George wasn't happy either. Lando was kind of like, we did better than we should have. Max crashed out. Oscar was nowhere. Isaac finished fifth.
I was considering Isaac, but I think I'm just gonna. Driver of the day has got to be Charles. I think.
I'm trying to give you options, but there's not really great ones other than Charles.
I mean, here's the thing. I adore Lewis Hamilton. That's my guy. Mm-hmm. I think that he had a great weekend, but I'm giving it to Charles because tough times never last. Only tough people last. My biggest letdown is 100% Red Bull because what the fuck are you trying to take out my number 2 for? Sometimes number 1, depending on my mood. If I'm feeling very violent and aggressive that day, I don't know, Max might be number 1. So why are you trying to take him out? How about you not do that?
Yeah.
So Red Bull really let me down with all that. Obviously not a fan of Max DNFing ever, but especially like a safety concern. No. Nip that in the ass. Fix that immediately.
My biggest letdown is whoever decided that we weren't going to get a final racing lap.
Yeah, fuck you guys for that.
Whoever made that call and decision and the timing of all the way that worked out, I'm like, we were so set to have that final lap and we just finished under safety car. Like, if you knew we were going to finish under safety car, why'd you have the cars unlap themselves? That makes no sense. The only reason you would have the cars unlap themselves is if we were going to have a final racing lap.
You were preparing for the safety car to go in. This is part of the procedure to end the safety car, so why were we even preparing to end it?
Exactly.
It was just stupid.
That's my biggest letdown.
And also, why's it got to take so fucking long? Mm-hmm. Like, damn. Just let them go.
How many more laps do you need?
How many laps do you need to decide they're allowed to unlap themselves? Hurry up. Okay, we have our next race teaser. It is going to be round 10, the Formula 1, and I'm going to butcher this because I suck. Moet and Chandon, Belgian Grand Prix at Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Let me tell you something. I love Spa. I love Spa. Spa is the track that I have done the most laps at in the simulator. So my boyfriend has a racing simulator. And I like to get on it and just do laps and laps and laps. And you could show me any part of Spa and I would know that it's Spa. Like, that's the track that I love it. So I'm very excited for it. So last year, we had a sprint race there. And the sprint results were Max Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, and Lando Norris. Our Grand Prix results from last year, Oscar Piastri, Lando Norris, and Charles Leclerc.
Mm-hmm.
See, it's not fair to say Charles had two shit years or like the past 2 years because he had podiums last year. He just didn't win. So it's not really a fair criticism. Anyway, so some track stats. The first GP was held in 1950. It is 44. Was it? Yes. Damn. 1950.
Shit, from the start. All right.
I was like, I'm wrong. I was like, I did this wrong. Okay.
There's only a handful that have been held that long.
Good. It's such a good freaking track. Okay, it should be a forever track. It should 100% be a forever track.
Is this one of the ones they're alternating?
I think eventually, and it's honestly a crime against humanity. Like, why for another fucking street circuit nobody wants to race? So some track stats, we'll redo that again. The first GP was held in 1950. It is 44 laps long. The circuit length is 7.004 kilometers, which is about 4.35 miles.
That's
so it's a long track. So like whenever I do like a lap in a Porsche GT3 car or whatever, it's like a 2-minute something.
Yeah. On average, I'd say most average tracks fall into like the 50s in terms of the number of laps we do. Because for those who don't know, a Formula One Grand Prix has to be a minimum total distance. Mm-hmm. And so depending on how the length of a single lap around a track, that determines then how many total laps they'll do. So the number of laps they do at each track obviously changes. Typically it falls in like the 50s. On the short circuits, like at Monaco,
it was like 70.
It's like 70 something laps. Yeah. This is a very short number, or this is a small number of laps at 44, mm-hmm. which means it's a long track length.
Yes, it's very long. So the race distance is about 308.052 kilometers, which is about 191.41 miles. The race lap record is held by Sergio Perez, which he set in 2024 at a minute and 44.701 seconds. The qualifying lap record is held by Lewis Hamilton, which he set in 2020 at a minute and 41.252 seconds. And a bonus stat. The all-time track record is actually set by Oscar Piastri, which he set in 2025 during the sprint qualification or qualifying session. And it was a minute and 40.510 seconds. So just a little bonus thing for the sprint quali. Anyway, what is the track like? It's perfect in every way, and I love it. Next. No. Spa is long, fast, and iconic with long straights, high-speed corners, big elevation changes, and technical sections that reward confidence and commitment. Eau Rouge is honestly like one of the most iconic, like you just look at it and you're like, there it is. It's like, you know what I'm talking about? So you're on the straight and the elevation where it goes up.
Mm-hmm. It's like squiggly.
It's a squiggly. And
it's on all the posters. It's on all like the...
Yes. Just, it's so awesome. Anyway, it leads uphill onto the Kimmel Straight. The track rewards strong straight line speed and stability. The weather can also be very unpredictable here. You could have... Sometimes it's going to rain on one part of the track and not the other. Because like we said, it's a long track. It's a long track. So sometimes it can get a little squirrely. But just Spa is so fun to drive. Like, I hope I get to drive something there before I die.
Like an actual car?
An actual car. Like, Spa is so fun. So the tire compounds. Spa is going to have the C2, the C3, and the C4. Spa is normally a one-stop race in dry conditions, but strategy can change quickly because of safety cars, rain, or mixed weather. With the long lap and high pit loss, teams try to stretch the stints if they can and stay flexible rather than make extra stops. Now, the one stop did in fact bite a certain driver in the ass 2 years ago, and that was George Russell, where he took those damn hards to the end. But something to note with Spa, because it is such a long track, they don't do that nice little cool down lap after the race where you're going to go and you're going to pick up rubber to help with the weight of the car. That bit George Russell in the ass, and that's why he ended up being disqualified.
Because he was underweight. And then Lewis Hamilton got the win after the race was over with.
That was horrible. But I say that to say, yeah, that's something to consider. Now, can we overtake at Spa? Yes. Spa usually offers good overtaking chances, especially on the run up to the Kimmel Straight after Eau Rouge. Drivers can use slipstreams to close in, with turn 5 often being the main passing opportunity. Weather, setup, and straight line speed can still affect how easy it is to complete the move, though. Now, how suited is Spa for the 2026 regulations? I actually tried to take my time and do some research on what other people are saying, besides just my assumption. Spa's probably going to be one of the tracks that really shows the flaws of these regulations. The active aero should help on the long straights, but the track has so many fast, flat-out sections and fewer big braking zones, which can make battery recharging really difficult. If the cars start running out of energy before the end of the straights, places like Kemmel could become more about managing deployment than making a clean overtake. So it's kind of one of the criticisms we went into with Silverstone.
So it's a case of like, that is typically would be a good spot to overtake, but because of having to manage deployment and potentially recharge the battery toward the end of that straight, that could be a serious case of yo-yo racing.
Yep. And it's just one of those... The more that we see the yo-yo racing, by the way, I feel like I understand more about what the original criticism was. Because at first, like we're so excited to just see racing, but I understand it more now where it's like, it's really frustrating when, the driver makes the pass. And then literally like 15 seconds later, they just get overtaken again because they don't actually have the race pace. Or the racecraft to hold the position. And it was just deployment, like artificial speed that gave you that. And I know it's like artificial, but I think that's different than like what DRS was, which it was. But DRS, you were being rewarded for your race pace and your racecraft because you managed to get within that second in that area you needed to be for that period of time.
It wasn't the whole lap where you get that extra speed.
And yes, we have overtake detection zones where you'll get more energy for the whole lap. But again, it's different. It's just different. So I love Spa. It is just one of the, I just love it. Like, it's just such a fun track to drive. And I love it. But it's like, it sucks to like see a track that really, like, this is a race track. This is like where drivers want to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then
a lot of drivers will say that this is their favorite track.
And then to know you're probably going to have to drive it differently than you intuitively want to is just a letdown. But we'll see how they tweak the regulations this time, because they've done it almost every fucking time this year for very specific. Oh, well, on this track, we're going to do this. And on this track, we're going to do this. Whatever.
Yeah, that was something we talked about over the weekend, was that it seems like they keep having to make tweaks to the regulations that allow the cars to be more suited to certain tracks. But it's like they keep making tweaks. They keep saying, here's the baseline, but that's going to produce really shitty racing at this track. So let's adjust it to make it better. But it's not a one-off. They keep tweaking it. So it just is very clear to me at this point that this, and I think it's clear to them as well, that this is not the direction to go.
No, and they've literally already decided by the time this regulation set is done, it's going to be about the combustion engine more than the battery, the electric side. And they already are talking about, for the next set of regulations, V8s, no turbo. They've talked about refueling again. Guess what? They are like, battery what? And so it's such a far off from how these are that it's like, I don't know. But it is what it is. And anyway, but that sums that up. Anyway, guys, as we've said, we do love attention. So if you would like, comment, subscribe, that would mean a lot. Let us know who your best and worst was. What did you think about Silverstone? And what do you think about Tough Times Never Last?
Oh, and predictions for Spa. We didn't do predictions.
Okay, fine. I think Max is gonna come back and be on the podium with a vengeance. I think
Max, Kimi, and Charles are on the podium.
I was gonna say Max, Kimi, and Lewis. I'm only a Mercedes, Max, and a Ferrari.
We'll commit to that.
I'm gonna commit to that.
So let us know your predictions for Spa. Do you agree with us? Or do you think that, like, we're going to have a random, like, McLaren on a podium or something?
Hülkenberg gets his first point at Spa!
We just made that prediction every round. Hülkenberg's definitely getting his
He's getting it this
point this time. Yeah.
But all right, guys, we will talk at you in 2 weeks-ish time.
Yeah.
And our F1 Academy review will also be out later this week, so keep an eye out for that. Alrighty, bye.
Bye.